several ciphers.
Murdered in Dallas, Texas. He was shot by a sniper hiding in a building near his...
Holy fuck!
A bizarre flash occurs, and the plane has vanished. Upon
Yeah, you said it was okay to pop in.
The WEF is an organization.
Bro, this is really good.
Yeah, it's way better than the original.
It's way better than
Fly away, Houston. Vector good. Bye-bye, fly.
All right, welcome back, connectors. This is Connect the Dots, where we dive into the topics, piece it all together, make sense of it all. So let's dive in. We are going to excuse our buddy Dallin. He's on vacation. So
No longer with us.
he's no longer with us. He tried to disappear like Fielding, and we don't know where he
he
is.
wanted to double his salary, and we said, "Get lost, loser."
Yeah. Nice try, bro.
Hostile takeover.
Yep.
Hostile takeover. All right. Well, I have a fun topic today, and as you can see here, I got my Mountain Dew Code Red. Travis already finished
I
his.
finished my Live Wire, which
Live Wire?
I highly recommend.
Okay, and then Fielding's drinking Voltage,
I'm knuckles deep in a voltage about now.
and then we have another classic Mountain Dew
Baja.
and Baja Blast. Those are all the ones I could find in the gas station. I was trying to find a new one. I went all over to like a million Little Caesars today, and I couldn't find them. So it is what it is. But have you guys ever heard of the Mountain Dew conspiracy theory?
No.
No. Yeah.
Okay, this is actually shocking that I actually have one that Fielding hasn't heard of.
I'm
So
like,
I'm actually
I
pretty
don't
pumped about
don't
this.
think I do. So as you're going, if it's like something's familiar, I'll tell you. But like just a Mountain Dew conspiracy,
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay. All right. So first things first. Have you guys ever heard of the story about how the CIA helped PepsiCo? Have you guys heard that?
No.
No.
Okay. So this is a little bit of background and context on the PepsiCo company itself. Okay. So back in, let me see if I can get the date here really quick. Sorry, I'm asking ChatGPT really quick. But the gist of the story is this. So back in, I think it was back in the 70s, the CIA ended up overthrowing the Chilean government. And the sole
Those dirty
purpose,
rats.
Yeah.
the sole purpose, because, and I'll get some details here real quick. I didn't prepare this part, but I thought of it and wanted to mention it. But they overthrew the Chilean government because PepsiCo was getting like a majority of its ingredients, I think specifically sugarcane, from Chile. But they had a new like leader come in, and he was planning on tariffing and raising the prices on sugarcane.
Tariffs.
And PepsiCo, it would have put PepsiCo out of business. So the CIA got involved on behalf of PepsiCo and overthrew the Chilean government. So hold on, when did the CIA?
So I think that's pretty interesting that, like, we talk about tariffs really on everyone's mind right now, but
Right.
they've really just been going on forever.
That's what I was just thinking. The playbook has not changed.
CIA needs to head up to Canada.
Yeah.
'Cause they've been tariffing us like crazy.
Yeah.
So check this
I
out.
want to
They
get some of
go
that
there.
syrup
I was
cheaper.
gonna
I mean,
say,
syrup's so
get our
expensive.
maple syrup down
Yeah.
in price.
It's like, good grief, Canada.
So yeah, it was in September 11th, 1973.
Never forget.
Never
September
forget.
11th.
Yep, they ran a coup with a General Augusto Pinochet. He led a military coup against the democratically elected president Salvador Allende. And obviously it's a
Pinochet was a bad
conspiracy,
dude, too.
but at the end of the day, yeah, PepsiCo CEO was like lobbying the government to do something about what was happening in Chile.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's ties to PepsiCo. At least, whether PepsiCo was involved or not, PepsiCo was the one that benefited.
When you really look at it, dude, it's like, I get why people are kind of pissed at America.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The hard part is a lot of this stuff. I'm like, I'm against that, but then also I've really enjoyed my Kush lifestyle.
Well,
I think it's a little disingenuous to be like, you know, I don't know. Our life would not be as easy without the CIA being really dirty and evil.
Well, think about them. They're like, oh, we can sell our sugar to a different country for more money.
Yeah.
That'll benefit us.
And we're like, screw
And then
you.
America comes in, cuts a bunch of heads off, and then like, okay, we'll
it's really
sell it to
terrible.
America for cheap, like
Cheaper
for
than
nothing.
we want.
Yeah. So.
And how many times has like America done that?
Oh, dude, countless.
We did something with Chile earlier than that. So the thing with Chile is actually really deep. You bring up, I actually know a little bit of this. I had an assistant manager that was Chilean, and we got down the rabbit hole a few times. But like in World War One, like there was an island off of Chile that had bird poop all over it, like hundreds of feet of bird poop. Like birds have been going there for like thousands of years,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
That's
And,
disgusting.
Yeah.
But you could harvest this, and then inside of that, they could make it into like the explosive that would be in the shells. And it was like one of the only places in the world. Well, Chile is like, we want to, a war's coming. We can sell this for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Same story.
Yeah.
And America's like, no.
Yeah. We're gonna sell it.
You're going to sell it to us for what we think is a fair price. And
Wow.
so like a lot of the shelling from World War One, it is interesting that like back then, because they might have been in Germany or something, like you can kind of artificially do it or something now. I don't remember all the whole story, but back then you had to like literally get this bird poop, do some chemical process to it to make the munitions.
That's
wild.
crazy. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. Well, get this. So here's the conspiracy. I'll give you an overarching narrative, and then we're going to dive into the details.
Let's do it.
But the conspiracy is this, and the one that you guys haven't heard. That every time Mountain Dew comes out with a new flavor, something catastrophic happens.
Yes.
Okay.
I
No
have heard
way.
this. I have heard
Hold
this.
on.
Every time there's a new
So we have
flavor.
5 flavors.
But there's a lot more than 5 flavors, and we're going to talk about some of the flavors we weren't able to actually get today.
I might crack open this original.
Yeah, dude, you do whatever you want to. So get this. So this starts. Mountain Dew was introduced in the year 1948.
What?
Okay, that was when Mountain Dew
that.
first came out. They redid their flavor, I think in the 70s, but Mountain Dew was created, the actual Mountain Dew beverage, in 1948. Well, guess what else happened in 1948?
48.
And no cheating. Don't look at my notes.
Korean War?
Well, that's about right around when it took place. But there was something, I think, even a little bit more eerie, and it was that
No, not Titanic. What was that ship? I don't know.
the World Health Organization was formed.
Oh, no.
Okay? Yeah, they were formed in the year 1948, the same year that Mountain Dew was originally released for the very first time. Okay? Now, fast forward to 1988, where Mountain Dew introduced their next beverage, which was Diet Mountain Dew.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay? Which happens to coincide that it was released before the Pan Am Flight 103 bombing in Scotland, which killed 270 people.
I was watching VH1
Nice, dude.
when that came
That's
out.
old school.
Some videos, yeah. Probably like Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel or I don't know.
So yeah. So the year they came out with Diet Mountain Dew, 270 people died on a plane, a terrorist bomb that was blamed on Libya. But yeah, terrible.
Muammar Gaddafi just got a bad rap all the time.
Yeah.
Easy scapegoat, probably a CIA something.
Well, one of my favorite TV shows, speaking of this Libya Mountain Dew thing, is Airwolf. Have you guys ever heard of Airwolf?
I don't think I have.
It's like Dukes of Hazzard's Knight Rider level,
Okay.
but it was about a helicopter. That was like a Knight Rider helicopter.
Okay.
Sick.
So
it's like-
it's just CBS's version of the ABC show.
Yeah, Knight Rider.
So yeah, anyway, but that I rewatched it recently because I was watching it as a kid back then. So they have this experimental helicopter, and they get a guy with like a patch on his eye or whatever to steal the helicopter. Guess who's funding it? Muammar Gaddafi. So like
No
the
way.
first episode, they go to Libya and blow the crap out of a bunch of
Oh my gosh.
people, and I'm like, this is propaganda.
It is.
They are 100% propagandizing us. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. But
Because
anyway.
they could have used a fake character.
Yeah, they could have made someone up.
And it's like they showed like this guy that looked kind of like Muammar Gaddafi, and he's obviously like objectifying women and
Yeah.
has harems and just
Yeah.
so we'd
That's where-
want to kill them anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's where the CIA like
Killing babies
Operation Mockingbird comes
Yeah.
in, where it's like they've been using the media to plant ideas and concepts into the American
Yeah.
people forever.
Yeah.
Just like
decades.
anyway,
that's like a perfect example of
just I just thought it was interesting.
unnecessarily
Yeah.
naming Omar Gaddafi.
Like why him?
Because one day
He
we're
killed
gonna-
so many innocents with the Airwolf too, and so Stringfellow Hawk had to go and steal it back,
Nice.
God,
and he did. He got it back, guys.
Well, good.
I believe
good,
it.
Good. Good.
I'll have to go back and watch that.
America.
America. Okay, next flavor.
Okay.
Code Red, Mountain Dew.
Oh, right there.
Right here, the one I'm currently drinking. Okay,
So Code Red was the third flavor.
third flavor.
Oh, I didn't
yeah,
know that.
Yeah, and it was the first time that they actually. Well, no,
When was Code Red?
2001.
Huh,
And I know
that rings a
specifically
bell.
it was released 3 months before September 11th with the name Code Red.
Yeah, that is weird, right?
Isn't that a little weird?
It could've- I mean, I guess it could have been worse. It could have been like plane building.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
twin planes,
Steel melter.
steel melter, yeah. Yeah, the building imploder.
By the way, I've seen some new video, and it's hard to tell what's AI and not, but the Pentagon little still shots from the it shows like the little arm that comes
Yeah.
down, and it's like, and then it shows up above. It shows like what the size of the plane would have been, and then
Yeah.
and you're
100%.
like, it's not even close.
Yeah, it is a missile.
It's an obvious
a missile.
missile.
Check out our September 11th episodes.
Because there's no
moly.
way a plane could fly
Like-
that low to the ground at the angle that it went through. Like
Yeah.
it's just conveniently a missile, and it didn't it didn't blow up the way it was supposed to.
Right.
So the hole that's there is this big instead of blowing half the building apart. Like
The thing that's getting me is like, we're like, well, how could they have done this? And all this media would have had to lie. And now we see with those little Twitter things where it shows like the one person starts saying a phrase, and then it shows the next person saying, and then pretty soon it's like 25 people saying the exact same word for word phrase, and you're like, oh, the media could have easily lied to us.
oh yeah. Yeah, back then it was so much easier to control
it's
too.
September 11th, we shouldn't even talk about it. We should delete that episode. It's not even a conspiracy anymore.
Yeah,
Does
everyone
anyone
knows.
believe that that's...
I don't think so.
Are there people that are like, no, that was for sure those people from... That's the thing, is I still don't even know what country it's supposed to be from.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about who they blamed?
Iraq?
They were Saudis.
I know, but
And then we
went to
attacked
war.
Afghanistan.
But then we
were
went to
F Iraq.
Yeah, then it gets even worse.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one that he came out with was Mountain Dew Livewire, which is
Okay.
what the one that Travis just
this is
drank.
Such a good one, guys.
And it was
It's worth the
introduced.
devastation to people.
It is. Well, let's find out what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Then we'll decide.
it was introduced in the summer of 2003 as a limited release, and then was later permanently released in 2005. But the first time it came out happened to be the
2003.
same time that the Patriot Act renewal and expansion was passed by
I
Congress.
take it back.
Civil
Livewire.
liberties concerns rose over the U.S. Patriot Act, and it was renewed, which gave the government unprecedented surveillance powers, and they were strengthened amid terrorism fears post 9/11. So, a live wire.
That's ironic because Mountain Dew is, you know where the name comes from, right?
No.
So the Mountain Dew, if you look
Should've
at the
done that research,
if you look at the original can, there's a throwback can, it has that little dude on it, right? And what does he look like?
I don't even know if I've ever even seen that. I'm gonna pull it up.
It's actually interesting because
Skier?
with the Patriot Act being linked to it somehow. No, it's not a skier, dude. That's all new
Original
rebrand.
Mountain Dew.
It's like a
can.
I won't say it.
Let's try the can.
Okay,
Is it
that
this
right
one?
there? Yep. Click that.
No way.
Yeah. Do you see what it is?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try to get a bigger image of it.
Do you see what that guy is?
Is he shooting another guy?
But what is he?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna.
Cowboy?
No. You guys will get it. I think See if there's a little do throwback. The throwback is more obvious. Do you see what he is? What is he drinking out of?
It looks like ale, like alcohol, or like a...
It's a jug.
Yeah.
He's a moonshiner. What were moonshiners? Anti-government. They wanted to mine their own moonshine,
Yeah.
or make their own moonshine, so they didn't have to pay government taxes.
Hillbilly.
They were
up in
hillbillies.
the mountains.
Yep, that's the Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is what they called moonshine.
Dude, that's freaking crazy.
So it's ironic that then later, Mountain Dew conspires to take away our liberties. Allegedly.
How sad.
Dirtbags.
How sad.
Okay. So that's Livewire. Don't worry. We're just getting started. There's a list.
Okay.
Okay. The next one that came out, or, well, connected to a conspiracy, there could be some that came out in between, but this was from the ones that people have talked about that is circulating the internet and TikTok and different places. The next one is Mountain Dew Pitch Black.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
great, right?
Yeah, it's the grape flavored one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was way good. Well, that one ended up coming out in 2004, around the same time that there was the Indian Ocean tsunami that killed 230,000 people.
Yeah. And they
So,
knocked power out
And
for
it knocked power out to most of
pitch black.
the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia.
yeah, I just remember that was one of the couple things about my memories about that. I was watching the news and the newscaster came on and said the F word.
Really?
But really they were mispronouncing Phuket. It's Phukat. But they were calling it Phuket.
Yeah.
And then I also went on a cruise in like early 05 on Holland America. Holland America has had like a 200-year relationship with Indonesia where everyone on their ships are all Indonesians. Like it's like a good job for them because they go for like 6 months.
Yeah.
They're rich. Well, one of the guys that was have you ever been on a cruise?
Yeah.
And you have like the person that's assigned to you at your table is like they're with you the whole time.
Mountain Dew sponsor us so I can go on a cruise.
The person that was on our table had lost their whole
tried.
family in that tsunami.
Yikes.
Dude.
It was brutal.
He's like, now just cruise the
Did
open
you see
ocean.
his name was Bing Bong.
That's definitely a fake name.
Yeah, probably.
Bing
But
bong.
we would take Cash was on the cruise with us. My son who's now on his mission. And I don't know why we let this happen, but he'd want to hold him. So then we just let him have it. He'd just take him while we're at dinner, and he'd just take him back in the kitchens and all this stuff. And I'm just like, in hindsight, I'm like, I don't know if I would do that again.
Well,
It's like, where's Cash? Our 1.5-year-old.
yeah, prime adrenochrome.
Well, I don't know. I got
age.
6 lobsters in front of me. I got to finish.
I can't be bothered with my child.
With like childcare. Thanks, Bing Bong.
That's so funny.
They went back and weighed him for the adrenochrome, and it wasn't a good ratio, so they sent him back.
It's like the same thing as like Star Wars when
I
they
know,
check
I'm just
their
like-
midichlorians.
Yeah.
If I had done this podcast before, I would have like, no thanks.
Yeah, you would let him out of your sight.
Yeah. So
Wild.
Pitch Black. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
The next one, Mountain Dew Voltage Fielding's drinking.
that's my baby.
Okay.
Delicious.
Is it?
2008 winner of the first Democracy campaign, which there you go. Slight.
Oh, I remember that democracy thing. You
Yeah.
could vote.
Okay. Well, get this. What happened in 2008?
The financial collapse.
Yep. Global financial collapse. Okay. Which was triggered
That's
by
how
the
I
Lehman
ended up in
Brothers,
Utah.
housing market crash, and toxic assets held by major banks. Millions lost jobs, homes, stock market crash, government bailouts reshaped the global financial system, sparked Occupy Wall Street in later years, and basically, a voltage, right? A meltdown, collapse.
Occupy Wall Street. What a joke.
Yeah.
All the banks are like, we're sick of all these poor people. Let's have them get pissed at us and go to the credit unions.
Yeah. That's literally what happened.
Yeah.
So funny.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Mountain Dew Real Sugar.
By the way, I'm at a credit union, so no
Yeah.
judgment.
I was gonna say I'm at a bank, but I also have a credit union. And the guy was asking like why credit unions are doing so well in Utah, and we were talking about it, and I was just like the banks don't want what the credit union customer what they do.
They think it's garbage.
Yeah, they don't want to waste their time with somebody who's like paycheck to paycheck or rebuilding their credit or like wanting to get like auto loans. Like they want a business owner.
Like everyone's like auto loans are interesting because like how much do they actually make on an auto loan?
Yeah.
Credit union, like even at 5%, 6% interest, it's like $2,000 over the course of 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not much.
But you get it on your books and it makes you look good, and then you can lend and borrow more, like as institutions.
Yeah.
It's all a game, but
yeah, for sure. Okay, next one. Mountain Dew Real Sugar. Okay, came in 2009 and was released as a throwback.
That could be the one that had the original picture that I was talking about.
Yeah. As a throwback to when they used real sugar back in like the early first version. Okay, and in 2009, Barack Obama was inaugurated as the 44th president of the United States. And his whole thing is he ran on hope, change, and restoration of American ideals, but ended up starting the biggest cabal and influence of the growth of the deep state. So it wasn't a throwback to American ideals, but a throwback to a more primitive style of control and
I would say not a big Barack fan, but to give him credit for creating the deep state could be a leap. I think he was a pawn
maybe like a
because he was like
Yeah,
selected.
because
He was
the
like a
deep state-
junior senator from Illinois.
I was going to say the cabal definitely but the person who made it kind of mainstream was the senior Bush. I think when he was the head of the CIA.
Because he was involved in it back when Eisenhower was talking about it.
he was like,
yeah. He was even involved in the
What is up with
Kennedy.
Speaking of that, like all these videos.
and then his dad was involved in the coup that happened.
do you guys think
Post
that
World War II.
all these leaders are actually married to men?
It's an interesting
Speaking of Bush
thought.
Senior, Macron.
Look at how
In France-
manly their wives look.
Macron in France, and with the whole thing with Candace and stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
that one seems pretty legit. Like that's a dude.
Yeah.
And then you look at like Bush Senior's wife, Barbara.
Yeah. Barbara's cut.
She got that.
She was
like
cut.
my son always does, like the Sigma chin, where he's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, she looks like she literally looks like she could play linebacker for like the Chicago Bears or something.
Yeah.
She's got those broad shoulders.
She
and
looks
stuff.
like a guy, dressed as like an 80s
And then
grandma.
who's the other one? Chuck Schumer's wife.
Yeah.
You should pull up Chuck Schumer's wife, dude. I'm sorry to distract you.
There's another one.
let's
There's
look it up.
another one
You
that
guys got to see. You got to see this. I'm like, is this AI trying to make me
Okay,
think
hold
this?
on. Let me pull this up so that they can see it too.
Because I'm sorry, but
Chuck
I'm not
Schumer's
trying
wife.
to be rude.
Hold on, let's get a good picture here.
But-
Here we go.
It starts to make you think.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like?
yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, that's a dude, bro.
That's a dude, man.
Yikes, man.
And then that whole thing with Chuck Schumer, like
Wow.
barbecuing. Have you seen that? He's like, "Hey, everybody, Trump sucks." And he's like, "I'm just out here barbecuing." And then, but if you look at what he has on the thing, it's just like raw meat, like with like big thick hunk of cheese on it. It's like no one barbecues like this. This is like photo op.
This is obviously, fake.
It's like everything about
Staged.
everything is just fake. Everything is fake.
Do I believe
Their
it?
marriages are fake.
Yeah.
But then where are the children coming from? And I've resisted the Michelle Obama thing because
There's no photos of Michelle pregnant. There's no photos of her pregnant. There's family friends of the Obamas. And
Wasn't there
the
the-
Obamas' children look just like that couple.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm derailing this. But you brought up Obama, and it's a good way to control someone, I think. Right? You
Absolutely, yeah.
someone who's sexually traumatized, and the Michelle Obama thing. I've seen pictures where she looks masculine, but I've seen some where she looks pretty. I would say that. But then I've also seen Project Runway or those shows of some of those transvestites that look pretty.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope. Okay.
Anyway, all right.
Next one.
Next flavor.
Yeah, next one that I've got for you guys here. Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay?
Taco Bell nailed it out of the park with this because for some reason, like I like to drink this with fake Mexican food.
Yeah.
Yeah, some reason they go hand in hand.
It really tastes good. I don't really like to drink it when it's out in the wild, but with a Crunch Wrap Supreme.
Right. Here's a crazy one. Okay, so it originally came out in 2004.
All right.
Their contract was for 10 years.
Okay.
That it was an exclusive Taco Bell.
Yeah, they couldn't release it
beverage.
anywhere else.
Right.
I remember that.
But then after the contract ended in 2014,
Then they released it.
then they released it to the public to consume outside of
Yeah.
Taco Bell. Well, what else happened in 2014?
2014. I don't
Did
know.
we do an episode on that recently?
We did an episode recently on it, and we had some video issues. So I'm going to release it still,
Oh yeah.
but it's just going to be audio.
Malaysia flight.
Malaysia.
Yep,
Flight 370.
MH370.
And now we know that was like almost assuredly a wormhole event that went
yeah.
to abduct those scientists because they were going to defect to China.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The decision's yours to make,
I
but
don't know,
you
there's
made it
some-
wrong, so.
You made the wrong one. Suckers.
We didn't say there wouldn't be consequences, such as us flying you through a wormhole to our secret base in Antarctica.
You imagine being on the plane and then all of a sudden just like this flash of light.
Hey,
you
look.
look out and you're like,
Hey.
wow, flip.
What's that? What's that orb? What's that ball lightning doing out there, guys? Do
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're landing in Antarctica.
you think it's like Star Trek when it's like you start to see the stars like
Oh, like warp speed.
yeah?
It's like
You just hear Jean-Luc Picard's voice. Go ahead, number
going
one.
boldly when no one has gone before. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. I could have got this one, but I didn't.
Well, hold back. Which flavor was that for the Malaysian Air?
Baja
That was
Blast.
Baja.
Oh, Baja Blast.
A blast.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to
Mountain
zero
Dew
sugar.
Zero Sugar.
Zero sugar Mountain Dew is pretty good.
It is. I'm more.
Diet is
I'm
not good.
I like the diet more than the zero.
But that's true. You drink diet.
I
though.
do drink
So
diet,
you've become
that
addicted.
aspartame is
Yeah.
just-
Oh, I love the aspartame aftertaste.
Which makes me so happy. Okay. So that was introduced in the year 2020.
Oh shoot!
Zero sugar in the year of sanitation.
Wow.
Okay. That was when COVID.
Yeah. One of the most
Year
dangerous.
of sanitation.
Okay.
I'm still mad at Bank of America made me get my shots, and then
Yeah.
didn't hire me.
Yeah.
That's dirty, dude.
It's dirty.
That's
It's a dirty
hilarious.
Messed up, man. Messed up. Okay. Next one. This one's interesting. Mountain Dew Star Spangled Splash.
Okay, never even had that one or heard of it.
It's good. I've had it.
It was like a summer one.
It's like a summer one. Came out, I think it came out enough time before 4th of July and all that kind of stuff, right?
What year?
2024.
Oh, so was this? Oh, this was when Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was released.
It
Was
could
this
have
the
been.
Calamity?
No, but this isn't what it's connected to.
okay.
It's actually,
Calamity.
it's even better than that.
Okay.
Okay. Do you remember in 2004, we actually did an episode on it where you had
Did you say 2004 or
2024,
Okay.
and we did an episode on it.
Okay.
And it was when that Singapore shipping container hit the bridge.
Oh,
They had the power outage, and then
we
they
were
lost
doing
control.
an episode when that happened.
Yes, and we
Yeah.
were and the episode that we were doing at that time was the
Yeah.
one about the movie the Obamas made.
Leave the
Yeah.
world behind.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
That was a weird kind of.
Here's an interesting
Sync
thing, though.
of
I didn't
events.
know this until I was doing the research on this.
Which
That's-
in Leave the World Behind, for the record, for our audience maybe hasn't seen it. In that movie, there's a ship that hits a bridge, right? Or
It's a ship that loses control and it beaches
and
itself.
it beaches itself.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that, and then while we were talking about that, a ship loses control and then hits the bridge. That's
Yeah,
what it
and that was like, yeah.
Okay.
So, get this though. Do you remember the name of the bridge?
It was probably like the George Washington or the Albert Einstein.
Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Oh no way! And
And
it's the 4th of July. It's the Star Spangled.
He's the guy that wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
Whoa.
Sick. Yeah,
That
that's
one's
pretty
weird.
rad.
That one's way weird. All right.
I know that correlation doesn't mean causation, but what are the chances of all this stuff happening? Maybe it's really good. Maybe you could say every year there's a calamity that you could tie to it.
Probably. But I've got 3 more.
But no, I think Pepsi's evil. That's
Yeah.
except for I don't know. Let's
They make
say
a
that
great
because I do
beverage,
like
though.
Mountain Dew. Yeah.
I mean, I like Mountain Dew, but I won't drink Pepsi. I'm a Coke
Well, I
guy.
mean, Pepsi did burn Michael Jackson's hair, which got him addicted to drugs, which eventually led to his death.
Yeah.
There you go.
I
See?
think it's yes.
That's
Pepsi
freaking
Cola.
science.
That's science.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Have you guys heard of Mountain Dew Typhoon?
No, I haven't heard
So
of that.
they did a release, short-term release, a release in 2010, and did a re-release in 2022. And in the year 2022, did you guys ever hear of the Hurricane Ian? Do you remember Hurricane Ian in 2022?
Yeah, I do.
Category 5 made landfall in western Cuba and then in southwestern Florida, and ended up, it was like Florida's most deadly hurricane since 1935, and it caused 161 fatalities and $112 billion in damage.
Sweet.
How do they have insurance in Florida?
Dude, I don't know, man. Well,
right?
just to, before even getting to this, the LA earthquakes,
Yeah.
like the ones back in like the 80s or whatever,
Yeah.
dude, that was
Candlestick.
the damages there were like in the hundreds of billions, and that was like in the 80s. So, don't know. Okay, Mountain Dew.
Some dirty is going on. We don't even know.
Dude, this
Our
one bugs
money
me.
just is fake.
Yeah.
Everything's fake.
We live in a
Everything's
simulation.
fake. We do live in a simulation.
Mountain Dew Maui Burst.
Never heard of it.
Okay,
I like where it's going.
Came out
I know.
in 2019.
Did it have a blue cap?
I don't
That
know.
would be sick.
Maybe, but you know where I'm going with this
Sick.
one. You have the 2023 Maui wildfires.
Started my
Maui
lasers.
Burst.
I'm actually starting to really buy in on the laser theory,
The
dude.
direct energy weapon.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's 100% real.
Well, you see
Guaranteed.
these Chinese people putting blue roofs on because China's telling his people they have direct energy weapons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you see.
It's a yellow bottle
Okay,
with a
so-
green lid.
oh, maybe green.
Yeah, but if you invert the colors, it's probably matches.
On the bottom of it, it's
I
got
do
one of those
love that.
blue little.
I do that when you get into people like number people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But that's only 3 away. Then you
Yeah,
go
but
to
it's
the.
only 3 away, and if you take 3.
But then 3 years minus my
That's
birthday.
one thing, like, I love all things conspiracy, but, like, the numerology stuff, not numerology, because numerology is something different, but, like, the things where it's, like, in
Significant
the
numbers.
gematria thing, it's
Do
like,
you know who's really into that?
who?
Sean Ryan.
Yeah, see, that like, people get super into it, and then they, like, will be like, yeah, if you put
Yeah.
Mountain Dew 2024, it's, like, Christ will rise.
Yeah.
And it's going to be this year.
And then this is my favorite. They're like, an M is a 21.
yeah.
It's like, well, why? Because.
Oh yeah,
Because
that,
it is.
That I want to buy into that stuff.
I know,
but I
it'd
just
be
don't
pretty rad.
get it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd probably go deep in the rabbit hole.
yeah,
Yeah, because I'm like,
have you
for
heard
the-
Sean Ryan's pod with Tucker?
I
I've seen
haven't watched
clips. I've seen
the whole
clips
thing
of
yet,
it.
though.
That bro's lived a life.
Oh, Sean Ryan?
I have no idea.
Yeah, dude, he's a legend.
He is a legend.
Yeah.
The fact that he's even alive is a
And he's
miracle.
just like, yeah, and then so I got some hookers and some cocaine and
Then I
you know,
came home and
then
sat in my car and let it run in the
Yeah.
garage with the garage
Yeah,
door
and then-
closed.
and then the whole time me and my dad were trying to get enough money to buy a Jimmy John's. That's a true part of it.
Dude, that his life story is amazing.
He wants to buy a Jimmy John's with his dad.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, I'll just go do some special operator work with the CIA real quick, and they'll pay me really well. And then we can just buy a Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
But then he gets like addicted to the adrenaline. Dude, it's a good ad.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
He's a solid dude.
no wonder he's bored.
And I love
He's like
Yeah.
regular life. He's just like, yeah.
dude,
Well, that's
seriously.
where we like joked about that person that we used to work with that you were talking about earlier, and it's like, yeah, he shot people through like sniper rifles, and like now he's talking about checking accounts.
Yeah.
Like how hollow must like
that
Yeah.
feel.
that feel? Like
Yeah,
you just
like-
got to be like,
So we
this
offer
is
a
important
product.
to you because
We offer a product that gives you free insurance on your cell phone.
yeah.
Like, how would your life be different if
Yeah.
He's like, I'd rather be looking at some crosshairs right now.
He's like, I could tell you what it feels like to pull a trigger, watch somebody's head explode like a melon.
Dang.
I will say I met some dudes with PTSD in my life, and the one that stood out the most was I met my good friend Glenn.
Yeah.
His brother-in-law came back from Iraq, and he was just telling this. Apparently, he just told the story around the table about how he's like just chilling in Iraq, and they're standing by. He's standing there by like a fence post, and then he just hears this like, ping, and then he just kind of looks, and it's like literally like it looks like it's eye level, like a bullet almost hit him, and he's like, so then yeah, we just had to like squat down, and then we just went and surrounded these people and just killed them all.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I have like the corn?
Yeah, can you pass the gravy, please? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, I think these different
There's
levels.
huge discrepancy between
Yeah.
people that would understand or not. Okay. So yeah, Maori Bush was the last one, or the last one we did. But here is the most recent release, which I tried to get at Little Caesars, and it was freaking impossible. Mountain Dew Mango Rush.
Okay.
Okay.
Which we haven't had yet, because thank you, Little Caesars, for.
Selling out.
Yeah,
Not
everyone loved
holding
it.
one for us.
Heard it was really good. Didn't get to try it. It said it was a mango flavored soda with a sweet heat kick.
God, it's going to be good.
I know. It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they'll do a
With the thin
re-release.
crust Little C's Pete's.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that thin crust baby.
And it was
It pops.
launched,
It pops.
launched in May.
Okay.
And there happens to be
Uh-oh.
on the news, you can see it on the news, this isn't fake, a massive volcano off the coast of western United States.
Oh my gosh, off of Coast of Oregon. Yes, I've seen this.
Yes. And we're going to dive into that actually quite a bit today, because this is crazy.
So there's evidence. I used to live in Oregon, and you could go in, like on the coast, there's just all these cool places where this is a tsunami level. Like, and you're like, you know, it's like up to here, you know, like, oh wow, that'd be really high. But then I remember there's this place called Coos Bay. It's like this little bay. And if you go in there, there was like a tsunami that was like marked on the buildings like 20, like, it's high.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Okay. I'm actually going to dive into some
no,
of
I don't mean that it happened when those buildings were there, but they would
Yeah.
mark it.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
that's how-
Yeah.
that. So, and then the name Mango Rush being potentially a tsunami. Okay.
Rush to the hills.
Rush to the
rush,
hills,
yeah,
run,
water
that kind of
rushing
thing,
in.
right? So what this actually is it's called the axial seamount. Okay, the axial seamount, and I've got some images. I'm going to pull them up and I'll show you guys. But the axial seamount is a massive caldera underneath the ocean
It's similar to
off
like
the coast of
Yellowstone,
Oregon.
right?
Yeah, it's 3 miles wide and 5 miles long. Okay, so pretty big area. It sits roughly 4,900 feet, which is 1.5 kilometers a mile. I don't know kilometers. I don't know why it gives us that.
Yeah,
Stupid
it's
scientists.
almost a mile.
Yeah. And then it sits, the summit though rises 1,100 meters, so 3,600 feet. Okay. So seafloor at the top. Okay. And this specific volcano or caldera has erupted like quite a few times. Okay. And even going back, but documented. There was one in 2015 when it erupted. And this is the interesting thing. When this erupts, it can cause up to 10,000 earthquakes in the area. A lot of them are smaller ones, right? Like 1 to 3 magnitude, but it can cause like larger magnitude type volcanoes. So let me show you guys some pictures here really quick. I want to show you
Okay.
kind of some of the images that they have here, and let me actually get this pulled up here. So this here is sonar of the caldera, okay? And where it sits here, you can see the Oregon coast, right? You have the Cascadia subduction zone.
Oh dang, it's not that far off the
It's
coastline.
right there.
No,
dude.
it's actually 300 miles off the coast
It's
of
just
Oregon.
enough time for like all that water to turn into a freaking really good tsunami.
Yeah. And so what you find is actually, and we're going to get into this a little bit more, but you have the Cascadia subduction zone, and then you have these different plates.
So that means that this plate that the ocean is is going like Oregon's here, and this place here, and it goes like this. And the ocean one is going under.
Yeah.
And then what happens is where all the like where my wife's from, Mount Hood, that's where the plate kind of melts. And then when it melts, that rock is hot, so it rises up, and then that's where Mount Hood, St. Helens, Sisters, and all that, they're from that plate going. The Von de Fuca plate is what it was
So
called.
the ocean one is coming in. This is like the land.
Yeah, and it
Here's
goes
an
under
actual-
it, and then when that
And
your
that's
fingertips,
Mount Hood and stuff like that.
when your fingertips melt, then that becomes lighter, so it floats up and pushes up.
Yeah. So here's an actual image of it. Okay. So
Ah.
you have the Pacific plate that then runs into the Juan de Fuca plate.
Von de Fuca plate.
And right here, this mantle upwelling, that's where the volcano
Cascade
is.
Ranges, yeah.
Okay. So then the Fuca plate actually goes in, it butts up against the Cascadia subduction zone, and it actually goes underneath the North American plate. And this whole area is like all friction.
The whole thing, just our simulation, that's just like a fail-safe, like, trigger key of, what's it called when people have like a dead man switch?
Yeah.
That's just like the fact that that exists, that you can just be like, you know what, yeah, we're just gonna pull it and let it pop, and then
And
it
it's
just over everybody on the surface.
So check this
Gone.
out. Just a little bit of science. And so normally we don't dive into science too much here, but
Not
'cause we
big
already know the
science
truth.
fans.
I just
Yeah.
want to know how this is the CIA's fault.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
So check this.
Well, the HARP antennas
be.
out there, they're just
Could be.
focusing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
warm it up.
1998, you had an eruption, and all that pressure and everything decreases, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have all this build-up pressure. 2011 eruption, 2015 eruption, and here we are. And it's been growing, and this data ends in like 2001. It actually is, they say it's gone past the 2015 threshold.
Oh, I was gonna say, so back in 2001, it was 2021.
Yeah, exactly.
It was where it was in 1989 and 2015.
Yeah.
So we're now way
So we're way past that. Okay. And they have data and information. They're saying that it could blow up in the next couple of weeks, in the month of June.
Maybe
Okay.
mango rushing to the
Yeah.
highland.
Well, get this. So obviously there's massive earthquake
I know
potential.
where Johnny Utah would go. He'd go surf those waves.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Some freaking like mile high.
Johnny Tsunami.
Johnny Utah from Point Break.
Oh.
In the final scene of Point Break, it's supposed to be somewhere cool, and it is. But the cool part is Otter Beach, Oregon,
Sweet.
and it's this cool place where there's like the rocks are kind of like this, facing the ocean.
Yeah.
So then when the wave comes in, it's really long,
Yeah.
and then it hits the rocks, and then it shortens the wave like this, and then that makes it rise.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
some really cool waves. So that's the last scene of Point Break is actually filmed in Oregon.
Okay.
That's cool. So
Oh, right over the Von de Fuca plate.
right over.
Yeah.
yeah. So earthquake potential. You have the obviously eruption that could potentially happen, and the funny thing is you like talk to scientists on the Pacific coast, and they're like, it's no big deal. It's no big deal.
I know. They're always so chill about it, but it's like, remember those guys? The St. Helens one was what gets me is that dude filming St. Helens, and he's like, "It's cool." It wasn't cool, dude. It
No.
freaking he
I
got.
think-
it was like really far away, and it went way faster and got him.
Yeah. I think you have to like just assume that it's like that because like
I guess it doesn't matter.
we think like right now like there's asteroids flying
That's
all over
true.
in space and it's like, oh yeah, it's fine because if it comes and
It's
it
still
hits
fine.
us,
Yeah.
it's
It's
whatever.
still
It's fine. But that's a good point. My wife, I mentioned, grew up in Hood River, Oregon, and you can see Mount Hood out her back window, and she just
Yeah.
went and learned about volcanoes. And it's
Yeah.
like, then she comes home and the volcano's right there. She's like, "Dad, what if that blows up?" And he's like, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it anyways.
It's like, it's kind of true because there's like evidence
like,
of
I'll
these
show you-
hot rivers. They call them iconoclast or something like classed as this the enemy. But they come down the river, these valleys, and they're going like 300 miles an hour, and they're like 1,000 degrees of like water and ash, like steam.
Oh yeah.
It's like
It's like, you want to know what
pyroclastic. That's what it is.
what happens? I'll show you. You
flow.
just pull up images of
Yeah.
Pompeii, and it's just like,
Yeah.
well, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
go.
would just literally.
I'm not
get-
worried.
Have you seen all those hilarious memes of like the guys from there that are like crusted, the bodies? It's
I
not
love
appropriate
memes,
for
though.
this, so I'll show you guys afterwards.
I love memes.
They're
though.
so freaking funny because you're just
I know what you're talking about.
the seconds of just the lava comes over your body, so their bodies are just exactly how they were.
Yeah.
So there's like it's just funny. I'll show you guys afterwards, but just funny things.
All right, Dan.
Okay. Well, another thing I want to show here really quick here on Google Earth. So here is the subduction zone, right? You can see like where the North American plate kind of goes out into the ocean, and then you have the Pacific plate that's going under. This is that Juan de Fuego, whatever
Juan de
plate.
Fuca, yeah.
Yep. And then you've got that volcano like right around in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you think about it, you end up having this explosion. It shakes this plate, shakes the plate up against the North American plate, and then you start having all these earthquakes. One theory is that if there's enough shaking, this right here, this corner of Wyoming,
Our friend Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, we don't want that to get shooken up too much. And then you have all the fault lines in California. Don't want that to shake too much. So there's a lot of worried people that are concerned about the effects that it could potentially happen. Now, here's another
Do you think we
interesting.
could just ask Mountain Dew to unrelease it?
Yeah, maybe that's the strategy. We're just like, hey, unrelease
They
it, guys.
might.
I don't want
It's
to deal with
worth a
this right now.
chance, guys.
Yeah, let's call them.
I'm gonna
Hey, we
send
got
you
some
this video
volcanic
we just made.
activity.
Write Mountain Dew and see if they can make like $1 million Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Where we all just make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
There
sweet.
you go.
Or
Yeah.
like or no geological activity.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain
Yeah.
Dew. It tastes like Earth.
No global assassination.
Uh-huh.
No currency crash.
Trump doesn't
Yeah.
declare martial law.
Yeah.
Do.
The UN
Yeah.
doesn't come in and make checkpoints.
Or North Korea and China airdrop soldiers into our backyard.
Yeah.
And then we have to wear our Wolverines jackets and go to work. Okay? But here's the interesting thing. This is here a little bit of history for you guys.
Okay.
Now, have you guys ever heard of the Cascadia earthquake and tsunami that happened on January 26, 1700,
Yes.
around 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time?
So there's a legend that there was a Spanish galleon that had sailed up the Oregon coast and then went into the Columbia River, and it was sailing up the Columbia River. And like, wow, this is a big river, and that when that happened, I can't remember if the river level suddenly dropped. They're like, whoa, they're like
All of a sudden dropped it
you
at the bottom.
drop, yeah, and so then they wrote about it in their journals, and I guess that they were saying, it didn't drop, it raised because I guess a tsunami came up the river.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Oh,
that's
so it
what
also just pushed.
So basically,
yeah, and they're in the club, and they're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So basically, what ended up happening is you had the Cascadia subduction zone had caused an earthquake. It was an 8.7 to a 9.2, and it lasted several minutes. And the effects of that was that it had a 30 to 100 foot tsunami that struck the Pacific Northwest coast, and it ended up making it pretty dang far inland. And there's actually ghost forests in coastal Oregon and Washington that basically there's stands of dead submerged trees,
I've seen those.
that were killed when land suddenly dropped and was inundated with salt water. And then they radiocarbon dated these trees, and it shows that the trees died suddenly in the winter of 1966, or 1699 to 1700. And where they get these specific dates is that there's actually a lot of documentation of that event. In fact,
A lot of the Indian tribes had stories about it.
yeah,
but-
they had stories about it. So Native Americans had oral histories. Numerous Pacific Northwest tribal traditions describe a great shaking followed by ocean water flooding the land and wiping out entire villages. Some tribes, like the Tillamook, the Quileute, and the Yurok, preserve stories for generations that accurately describe earthquake and tsunami behavior. But in Japan, they have documentation on the 27th basically saying that there was an orphan tsunami, is what they called it, because it didn't precede
No earthquake.
no earthquake, right? And the waves struck villages along the Japanese coast and flooded rice paddies, modeling traced with waves timing back to the U.S. Pacific, exactly matching the
So they
ghost
didn't
forests and
feel-
sediment events.
So they didn't feel the earthquakes.
No.
I
But the
remember when-
wall of water
I
hit
remember when
them.
Fukushima went off, when that earthquake happened, and a tsunami happened in Japan, obviously. But then the Oregon coast was like the red alert.
Yeah.
It didn't end up having a lot of power, which I guess the angle of it can matter and all these other weird factors. But yeah,
right.
they talk about that one like being a pretty big deal in Japan.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this is another piece to this that, like, why this matters. Like, there obviously is evidence that something like that could happen, right? It's happened in the past. But another thing that a lot of geological...
But something bad just has to happen this year for us to blame Mountain Dew, right?
Yeah, I mean, if not, we'll just pigeonhole it into something
Okay.
else. But
Excellent.
that's what it could be.
That's how it works.
That's how it works, man. But no, anyways, in the Cascadia event, and a lot of geological scientists, and I don't know what you'd call them, a lot of them are saying that the
Geologists.
Cascadia geologists, a lot of scientists are saying that there is the potential of a future magnitude 9 earthquake off that same coast. And yeah, within 15 to 30 minutes of the quake, you'd have a devastating tsunami that would hit that coast. So, I don't know.
I mean, right now, real estate's so expensive there. It's like, this would probably bring prices down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I remember working in Galveston, Texas
What is
after
silver lining?
the Katrina hurricane.
you worked in Galveston?
Yeah. Slinging alarms, baby.
Dude, you gotta do what you gotta do.
It was a Apex Bro back in the day. It's a Vivint Bro now, but
Apex.
so but insurance companies went in and gave you 2 power outlets and 1 phone line. And they just
Wow.
called it good. So all of those like houses out there, they all just have 2 power outlets, one at the front of the house, one at the back of the house, and then a phone line.
Really?
And insurance companies were like, "Hey, we've like that's your
Good
coverage."
enough.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Dude.
so if that happened like on Oregon and it just
Dude, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Thing is, a lot of those things, I mean, the coast isn't that, like, there's certain spots that are obviously high, but there's a lot of low, like Depot Bay, Coos Bay, they're like low.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Goonies house would probably be safe.
Of course.
Because the Goonies house is way up
This is what...
on the hill. So, rest in peace, everybody.
But if you
Yeah.
live in any of these areas, this is where it says that these coastal areas, if they're hit by a tsunami, it'd be like bad. You have Crescent City in Eureka in Northern California, Oregon, Brookings, Coos Bay.
Some kid just watching this on his bed, like at night.
yeah.
He's just like,
I live in Coos Bay. What? Mom!
yeah.
Newport, Seaside, Astoria in Washington,
Seaside.
Long Beach, Ocean Shores, and Nay Bay, I don't know. British Columbia, Tofino, and Vancouver Island, and the outer coast. So, I don't know. Is Mountain Dew freaking controlling the future? Is it a simulation? It could be. Or it could be that it's just coincidence. I'll let you decide.
From what I understand, because I had the coolest in community college in Oregon. I had the coolest, like one of my favorite teachers was the geology teacher, because we lived in, like, some of the place where you could go see geological stuff that nowhere else on earth. The Columbia River
Geology
Gorge.
Central.
So he's really cool about it. If I remember correctly from my ancient thing, is that Wanda Fuca,
They were using those.
it
what do they call those?
subducts under the thing, but it kind of pushes it back
Seismograph?
so that the plate kind of lifts. And it's so it's like bowing. And so when it gives and there's an earthquake that's big enough, it goes. And so like that lift, like the level of the land actually literally
Drops.
is bowed up and it just
Oh,
drops.
and then it kind of does one of those.
Yeah, because it's like it's like getting pressed like this, you know, and then it slides on that really fast, and then it straightens it out. And so that's why it can be so devastating. And that's why I guess one of the biggest Japanese tsunami situations they had was one that originated in the U.S. I don't know if it was the one you were talking about, but there was one that was super huge, and it was he described it. It was like shoving like thousands of miles of water all at once, just pushing it like 15 feet, and then he says then you wouldn't even see it because it'd go across the ocean, and the way they work is that the waves like kind of like this, and it's very low amplitude, but then it's hundreds of miles long, the wave, but then the front of it hits the ground,
slows down,
and it slows down, and so then this back's climbing up on it. So it's kind of cool the way all that works, even though the power of it's pretty devastating. I just saw a video of in the Arkansas River, there was a flood, and a barge got loose. And it's a long barge, like probably a football field long, had stuff on it, and it comes down and it's going to hit this dam, and the dam, they've got it wide open because it's like a flood.
And they're like, damn it.
They're like, damn it. And they're like, we did.
Yeah.
But this barge hits the dam, and it kind of pauses for a second, and the water kind of builds up on the back of it, and then just goes, and just sucks the barge under the water. So it's like, the power, I don't think we really get. I've been listening to a lot of Randall Carlson recently, too. Do you guys know who that is?
I don't think I know who that is.
He's the guy that talks about how the Grand Canyon was formed all at once, and with the gigantic flooding events. So, like, Noah's flood was probably real. And
I know who Randall Carlson is.
Cool.
He was on with Graham.
And he was just on Sean. He was on Sean
Joe Rogan's show.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was talking about it too, and it's just the power of this water is just like you don't even.
Yeah.
You can't comprehend.
Well, and if you
it.
go through all the footage of like when there was the tsunami off of the coast of Japan and took out the Fukushima nuclear plant, dude, watching the footage of when that hit.
And it's weird too because it doesn't look that violent at first. It's like
and then all of a sudden
like
it hits, and it's like, dude,
It's just going like
throwing
that. Yeah,
cars,
and all of a sudden
buildings.
Yeah.
things are getting blown up, and the cars are flipping into the end. Yeah.
It's because like the scale, we don't understand the scale.
As
It's
long
just
as
water
there's
slowly
not,
moving.
as long as there's not like a 10-mile high tsunami, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Here in the good old Rockies.
But if it triggers
Yellowstone,
California's overdue for an earthquake.
They haven't had a
And
big
then that
earthquake
could
for a while,
shift,
right?
and then
It's
trigger
80s,
Yellowstone, and then there's that map that the U.S. or the New York Times posted of like a future doomsday map. And that episode we did on Visions of Glory, when he describes what the United States looked like and where it was underwater and where it wasn't. And then I think it's the New York Times did that image of what the United States would look like. I mean, you should pull that up. It's like, well, yeah, the United States would look like that.
What was
if-
the map called?
Just do doomsday map
Day map
of the United States.
of the United States. Yeah,
And I'll show you. I can tell you which one it is.
if I could spell.
But if that earthquake triggers, it's that top one.
Yeah.
Earthquake triggers, and then all of a sudden, California, all of that's underwater.
Here, let me.
Because
I'm gonna
California
download
and
it really quick and
Oregon.
make it big. Sorry.
Well, if that plane,
Viewers can see
So
it.
you think we could lower that much?
Yeah.
Shiz, dude. I hope not.
Well, because the theory is like all of
It's a little pixelated. But
all of
Logan's
Utah
fine.
County is like under.
Logan's fine. Those guys are still up on the mountains,
Yeah.
but we're south of Salt Lake.
We're in big trouble.
So we're
And
in
if
big
you
trouble.
look at who's Bill Gates, he's buying so much property and land up here.
What a douche.
That guy sucks.
I hate that guy.
I don't even care if it's real or not. He's
I feel
terrible.
guilty every time I play my Xbox. Freaking kills me. But I can't switch to PlayStation. It's too late.
I know I got myself a Switch 2 pre-order. So
Let's go.
We're good.
Hey, but look, check this out. Look at
coming
that
out.
big old
Less than
piece
a
of
week.
land, dude.
So what's that all about?
I don't know. Maybe the land of Mew, or is that Atlantis? I don't know. It looks like it's in the triangle, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something weird going on over there. The road of Bimini or whatever is down here.
Well, you won't hear the Californians talking about how great the weather is anymore.
Yeah, shut your face.
Yeah, right, dude. They'll have sick islands. Look at that.
Yeah, I know, dude. They'll just be all on their houseboats and
Yeah, they'll be like living in Venice.
Yeah,
Riding
dude.
boats around.
So I
Hey,
guess,
but it
I
says-
guess,
it
I guess
says
if
in-
it drops, right? They'd have to drop.
where did
thousands
that
of
come
feet.
from? Where California will fall into the ocean?
Superman.
No, there's like
some kind
Superman
of
one.
it's
there's
like
some kind of prophetic.
now there's like an LDS
Some kind of prophetic like.
prediction
I
that
don't know.
Okay, hold on.
California
Let me see if I can
Lex
find it here really
Luthor
quick.
hijacks nuclear weapons.
I don't think the prophet got it
He-
from Lex Luthor.
He's going to shoot them into the San Andreas Fault.
Okay.
This is going to trigger an earthquake, guys. Hear
Okay.
me out.
I don't like where
The
this is
problem
going.
is, not only is Lex Luthor an enemy of Superman, but in the process, Lois Lane dies.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So Superman's got
That's
to
not
revert
good.
time.
Yes. So he just flies backwards, reverses the spinning of the Earth, which then makes time go backwards.
Lex Luthor would feel like that's probably not fair.
I think Lex Luthor
That
knows
Superman-
that isn't true.
Has that ability.
Like, that isn't true.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here.
Superman.
Where did that come from? So let's see here. It's not official doctrine. Does not originate from
This
any
is really an
canonized.
LDS type
Dude, I'm
thing.
not. I've heard it all my life.
Brigham Young. Yeah.
Okay, it's not canonized LDS scripture. Okay, it said it comes from a mix of speculative statements by early church members or leaders. Joseph Smith never prophesied of it. Brigham Young and other early leaders spoke generally about destruction preceding the second coming, but again, nothing specific about California. There's an urban legend status among some LDS members about California falling into the ocean, but apparently it's folklore or culture rumor.
It was Brigham Young's liberal media.
Influenced
Can't buy it.
from visions like John Taylor's and others.
I guess you can see it because the Book of Mormon talks
don't
about
know.
cities falling into the ocean
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe like interpretation from like Revelations or
in the
something.
middle of winter.
That's crazy.
All the Mormons were up in
I've-
Utah freezing their
Dude.
face off, and they're like, California, this is better because
Yeah, you
they're
guys
going to
are-
fall in the ocean.
Yeah,
So-
second coming.
The loner over
Just
there
wait.
by himself. You guys don't want to go down there. It's going to fall into the ocean.
Yeah, he's like, just
They're
come
like,
up
"Oh,
here.
shoot."
Just come up here in the mountains with me.
Yeah.
I get to eat this Wolverine liver.
Yeah,
We can catch.
Me and my friend Don are over here.
Yeah.
we're gonna go up in the mountains
I
in the
only need one-
winter.
I only need one bear skin if you come over.
Yeah, but don't say Skinwalker.
Window watcher. I found out my kids created their own thing, and my adult children talk about it, and they still are afraid of it.
Wait, are you talking
Window
about?
watchers.
Dude, that's a real thing.
Window watchers, dude. They come up to the window and they.
I think I told that story like in like one of our early episodes
Yeah.
about the lemon head guy.
That was actually a good one
Yeah,
when we were
early
sharing
ghost
personal
stories.
ghost stories.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
scary,
fun.
dude.
Yeah, we won't go into this time, but maybe we just do that. We need to get into some of this stuff. We need to get out of Skinwalker Ranch, dude.
Yeah,
That's so scary.
I want to go out there. I'll be carrying.
There's a giant wolf
Yeah.
with a skinwalker on his back.
Yeah.
Bro.
That's over there.
UFO up in the
sounding
sky.
like a child saying, "Help!
Help me.
Help!"
Oh,
But
dude,
it's
that
like a
that
dog
video,
pacing back and forth saying that.
dude, that video's scary, bro. Oh, oh.
Pass.
There's a ton
Hard
of those
pass.
videos out there, and I think they're probably mostly fake, but they're still creepy. Where the people are jogging, and they're like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And you can see like kind of someone standing. And
Yeah.
like, help me, my foot's stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. No. Mm-mm.
And then they're just
No.
like, "What's your name?" Like trying to, and it just like won't engage,
Uh-huh.
which then makes you think like, okay, that's not like a regular person.
This
to be
isn't
like,
safe.
Like, what are you doing out there? Help me, my foot.
Bro. No. I don't want any
I
part of
actually
that.
am getting like the hair on the back of my neck, like sitting just talking about that.
Yeah, that means one's probably close. Sorry, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Should we get out of here?
We should
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Do you want me to walk you to your car to filming?
Yeah. I
God,
parked
dude.
right next to you, so I think we'll be all right.
Oh, man. Anyways, I thought that was kind of a fun episode.
Yeah, that was fun.
You know,
Mountain
it's-
Dew is probably. I got one more Mountain Dew story. I
Yeah,
remember the
okay,
first
hit us.
time I had my first Mountain Dew.
Okay.
The year was 1979.
Okay.
I was 6 years old, and I went to visit my dad in Utah. But I was a good Mormon boy, so we didn't drink caffeine back then, because back then everyone misinterpreted all of that. right?
it was the devil, I believe. Back
But my dad was like,
took Mountain Dew from us.
he was like a rebel.
yeah.
A member. He may have been excommunicated even at the time. But we went to the convenience store in Logan, Utah. I can still remember where it was. And he's like, get anything you want. And I'm like, well, I want this. And it was a little glass bottles of Mountain Dew. They were like maybe 12 ounces.
And he
or
was like,
something.
I'm immensely disappointed in you.
No, he was very happy. I think he's like, your mom will hate this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the divorced dad.
Yeah.
So I get a 6-pack of Mountain Dew. By the time we get back to the shop, he owns a fabricating shop. Like he's a welder and stuff. I've already drank 3 of those suckers because it was the first time I'd had them, and it was like,
It's really good.
it tasted so good. It's like,
Yeah.
you know. But I'm also like, you know. So I like over the next like 15 minutes finish that 6-pack. This is the first caffeine I've had in my entire life, and I'm 6 years old.
Did your dad kill you?
No, dude.
probably a
No,
little-
he freaking.
little too
He was just dude. He didn't watch me. It was the
Yeah.
70s, bro.
Yeah.
So I got. Do you know what a pallet jack is? It's like a forklift that you can pull around and you.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
You can pump
Oh,
it.
yeah.
So apparently, as legend has it, because I don't really remember this part, I rode that pallet jack around the little industrial complex
Like
for
a
like the
scooter?
next 6 hours.
I can see that.
And then when we get home, I just am like, I was just absolutely
Yeah.
wasted. But like I'm sweating riding this pallet jack around. My dad's
Your heart's just like,
are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I'm like, I'm freaking great, man. And
Yeah.
like riding this pallet
oh
jack.
my gosh.
So that was my Mountain Dew story.
That's
I
awesome.
love it. That's a good one. Well, we love Mountain Dew. It tastes great. Thanks for making some good stuff. Don't make anything crazy anytime soon. Volcanoes is enough. And
Yeah.
earthquakes. But that's a wrap. Connectors, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. And like, subscribe, share it with someone. Guys, that's going to help us so much. I still think we're getting shadow banned from the episodes that we had to remove from YouTube that I think the powers that be did not want us talking about that. So help us out. Like, subscribe, comment, share it with a friend, put it on your social media. You know, get it out there. We'd really appreciate it. And then make sure you get some merch. conthedot.com. It's live. We've had a couple purchases already, which is pretty cool. But we've got tons of cool stuff on there. Tons of cool shirts and everything. We're going to have our own coming here sometime soon. And then we'll be able to show those off in person. But check that out. And then, as always, keep exploring. Stay connected. Until next time, don't forget, you're a champion. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Dodgy.